Welcome back to the Disney Magical Mindset Podcast, where you don't have to be in a Disney park to experience the magic, because you are the magic. It starts within you. My name is Ruben, your Disney Magic mentor, and today I'm going to share 2 questions that have the power to unlock the next level of your life, of your dream chasing journey, just like they did for Walt Disney and for some of our favorite Disney characters too. These 2 questions might sound simple, but they hold the power to completely transform the way you see yourself and what you're capable of. And let me tell you that what you believe about yourself is what you perceive about yourself. This is so critical. And that's what we're going to dive in today. So are you ready? Because here we go. I want to ask you something. Have you ever set a goal? Maybe to create, to launch something, to grow, to change, and you got stuck along the way? I know the answer to this question because I know that there have been plenty of times in my life, especially when it comes to pursuing a goal, a dream, an ambition, something that you set your mind and heart to, and you just get stuck. And it gets discouraging, and you feel sometimes like giving up and letting go. You know, you put all this work and then sometimes you don't see anything right away. Have you felt like that before? And maybe the reason you feel stuck isn't because you're not trying hard enough. It might be because you're not asking the right questions. It might be because you're not, again, it's not that you're not trying hard enough. I think we all try. But part of asking the right questions is to enter into this mode of training, because it takes more than simply trying. And today, I want to share with you 2, game-changing questions that I believe, if and when you put them into practice, you are going to be in a different place by the end of the year. You're going to be in a different place by the time you start the new year, because it just goes by so fast. We're already in, if you're listening to this, at this point today, when this comes out, we're at the end of July, and so I want to encourage you along the way, because I know what it feels like to be stuck. But we're going to enter into a mode of training, and part of that training is to ask some very important magical mindset questions that I promise will change everything. I promise you, it will change everything. The first question is this: who am I becoming? Who are you becoming? That's the first most important question we have to ask in this mode of training. As we pursue our goals and dreams and ambitions, the first question is, who am I becoming? The second question, the follow-up question, important question is, what do I do that aligns with that identity? All right, what am I doing that aligns with the identity of who I believe I am becoming? Simply put, the 2 questions are, I am and I do. I want you to remember that. I am and I do. Okay? I am and I do. I'm going to explain it all. Don't worry. But first, I want to take you back to 1937. That's the year that Walt Disney is releasing Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. The first, do you hear me? The very first. Come on, Walt Disney. Man. Feature-length animated film ever made. Up to this point, this is the very first. Look at the dreamer, Walt, do his thing. When everyone told him no, in fact, the industry called it Disney's folly. Nobody believed animation could carry a full film. There were always shorts and a whole lot shorter than an actual film, the running time of a film. No one thought that. So they said, well, this is just Disney's folly. But Walt didn't just believe in the project. Here's the key. This is it. It's mindset. And that's what I'm continuing to push you and me, because it's all about that magical mindset, right? It wasn't that Walt just believed in the project. He believed in himself. And you have to believe in yourself. I mean, you have to be that kind of dreamer. You got to be on that kind of level, especially when people are telling you no, especially when people are saying you can't do it. It's going to flop. It's going to fail. So you cannot only believe simply in the project, you got to believe in yourself, right? And that's it. This is Walt. He believed in himself. He wasn't just hoping to make a movie. He was saying, I am a visionary. Do you hear Walt saying that? And maybe he's not saying it out loud, maybe, or he's not telling other people. Although I got to believe that at some point along the way he did. But he's saying, and he's believing in himself, I am a visionary who will change the way the world sees animation. You know he believed this. And sure enough, everyone else was trying to catch up to Walt. They were trying to do what he had done because he believed he was the visionary that was going to change the way the world saw animation. Now, I want you to fast forward to 1955. We just recently celebrated the 70th anniversary of the opening of Disneyland. 7 decades of Disneyland magic. And on that day, I know it's not surprising to you because you probably know this already, there were technical failures, rides breaking down, asphalt melting under high heels. Come on, ladies. Reporters calling it a disaster. The Mark Twain sinking. But Walt, this is the level we got to get to. He already saw it. He already saw it. He knew that failures wasn't going to cause him to stop because he almost expected it. And that's the problem with a lot of people, is that because we don't set ourselves up to fail, or we don't expect to fail, when it happens, we don't know what to do, and then we give up and we let go. But Walt knew exactly what was happening. He understood, we're going to make some room for the fact that it's not always going to be right away. It's not always going to come together. Sometimes it's going to be a little messy, but notice that Walt already saw it. And here's what Walt does. Remember, here's that I am, that question, who am I becoming? Walt says, I am building a place, can you hear Walt? Where families can create magical memories together. Where families, parents and kids can have fun together. He declared his future in the present tense. I'm doing this even though it wasn't quite there yet. Right? He was declaring what he saw in the present, and that's the game changer. That's the ability, because then it shapes everything you do from that point forward. Because you're seeing something that might not quite be there yet, but now everything you do is leading you to that thing that you see yourself becoming. That's the power of identity, of saying, I am, before the world sees it. And you have to say that to yourself, because the world's not going to see that right away. In fact, they're going to see you a different way. So you have to have this mindset, right? This belief in yourself before anyone else does, because that's what's going to carry you in those moments, especially when things don't seem to be going well, when you feel like letting go or giving up. You have to carry that about yourself, because that's what's going to lead you forward to that next step, and to that next step, and to that next step, leading towards your magic kingdom. And this isn't just true for Walt. I want you to think about some of your favorite Disney characters. Think of Simba from the Lion King, one of the greatest Disney animated films, who ran away from who he was. Do you remember how Simba was running and running and running because he thought it was his fault? Of course, because Uncle Scar, made him believe that he killed his father. And so he ran away. Guilt and shame. And he was running from his past. He kept running and running and running. But notice the shift that takes place. He couldn't reclaim Pride Rock until he stepped into the identity of, I am the rightful king. I am the Lion King. You know that song, oh, I just can't wait to be king. He didn't believe it. But he didn't realize, this is so good, that when he was singing that song, he was declaring who he was becoming. But there came a moment in his life where he stopped believing that because of what transpired, because of his actions or because of his failures or because of who he thought he was based on what his uncle said or what he thought he did to his father. And so he ran from that. It was there. But he just needed to recapture the belief of who he actually was and who he was becoming. The rightful king, the Lion King. Think of Tiana. She had a dream to open her restaurant, but it wasn't until she owned it. She owned the dream that listen, hear her say this. Thank you, Tiana. I am a businesswoman who makes my dreams happen through hard work. And then things began to shift for Tiana. Right? She remembers when daddy told her fairy tales, they don't just come true. You got to make it happen. It all depends on you. And so there is that shift that takes place in Tiana's life where she says, I am this person. And of course, her dream comes true. Think of Rapunzel, who leaves the tower and she begins to start seeing who she really is. Everything changes, doesn't it? Her identity wasn't just the lost princess. It was, I am brave. I am curious. I am worthy of my own life. And that's one of the things I do often with my kids. I always want to speak truth and speak life and positivity into them because I want them to believe that this is who they are, even though they might not see it. But if I continue to reinforce it, I want them to believe it so that they begin to believe who they are becoming, not where they are now, but who they are becoming, because it changes the way you live today. And all of these characters, they had to first change what they believed about themselves before their world could change. And that's the same thing for you. And that's the same thing for me. We have to change the way we believe about ourselves if we're going to change at all. If we're going to get to where we're going, if we're going to create this happily ever after and the happiest place on earth, our own happiest place on earth, it starts with changing the way you see yourself or how you believe yourself, what you believe yourself to be. This is the game changer. Man, it's so critical. So let's make this practical. Let's make this magical mindset practical in our everyday lives. You don't get what you want. You get what you believe about who you are. I want to say that again. This is very important. You don't get what you want. You get what you believe about who you are. Because what you believe about who you are will determine the things that you start doing in your life today to become who you are. So whatever you believe about yourself, that's what you do. I mean, if you don't believe yourself to be worthy and to be good, right? Or you don't believe yourself, or you believe yourself to be a failure, then what do you think happens? You start acting and living out those things that make that statement true. But when you believe that you are becoming a new person, or you are becoming a storyteller, or you are becoming, someone who follows through on their commitments, it's going to change everything. It's going to change everything. So let's build this new way of approaching our Disney dreams, our life, our happily ever after, the happiest place on earth. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do it the Disney way. All right? And here's the first step. The first practical step is your I am statement. Your I am statement. So I want you to think of this like your own hero origin story, because you are the hero of your story. And the first thing you have to do to make this one of those stories worth telling is your I am statement. So I want you to ask, who do I want to become? You might want to write this down. Write this in your notes, put it on a sticky note so you can look at it. Who do I want to become? Even if it's not true yet, you're going to declare it in the present tense. I'm not asking about where you are now. I'm asking about who you want to become. Where do you want to be? And even if it's not a true statement today, it doesn't matter. You're going to write this down and believe it, because as you continue to repeat it, you will start acting like it. You will start doing the things that you need to do in order for that statement to ultimately become true, right? Even if it's not right now, but in the future. So for example, I am someone who follows through on my dreams, or I am a disciplined and consistent person. Okay? I mean, you could just throw anything in there. I am a reader. I'm an effective, efficient leader. I am a loving and kind person. I'm a confident content creator who shares Disney magic with the world. I am a great father. I am a great mother. I am someone who is patient and has this inner peace that allows me to get through my day. Doesn't that feel good? That one's mine, man. I need some more patience in my life. I am becoming patient. Yes, this is the fun part, right? I am someone who exercises every single day because I am physically fit and in the best shape of my life. Yeah, this is what you get to do with the I am statement. You don't wait to feel it, you say it. I'm not asking you to feel it, because when you wait to feel that thing, sometimes you're waiting forever and ever and ever, and you never get there. So I just simply want you to say it and start believing it, because identity is the soil where belief grows. And once you start claiming that new identity, you start growing into that identity that you believe you are becoming. Woo, this is so good. Now, you can't stop there. You have to go to step 2, your I do statement, because here you're going to engage in the actions that are going to prove that your statement, the I am statement, is actually true. Otherwise, it's just a wish. Here is where the magic continues with your I do statement. I am, I do. Let's focus in on the I do statement, because now I want you to write down, this question. What's one action I take to support this identity? What's one thing I'm going to do today to support this statement about myself, about who I'm becoming? So maybe it's I write and post one piece of content every week, or I'm going to wake up 30 minutes earlier so I can work on my dream, or I'm going to drive in the slow lane for 5 minutes every single day. Or I'm going to find the biggest line in the supermarket and I'm going to stand behind that line because I am a patient person. Ooh, that one just, it caused some of you some anxiety right there. You might have to work on that one. I hope you're seeing the power of your I do statement. And I promise you that these small actions are like casting votes for your new identity. Ooh, that's powerful. These small actions, these small consistent actions daily are like casting votes for your new identity. In fact, James Clear, who writes a book on habits, it's so good, he says that every action you take is a vote toward the type of person you wish to become. Yeah, Atomic Habits, such a great book. Isn't that powerful? You don't need to be perfect. You just need to vote consistently on who you are becoming. And every action you take, guess what? You're voting on who you desire to become. So, I wish we can go on and on because it's just so good. But let me bring this to a close. Because here's your challenge for this new week. Each morning, I want you to imagine your dream self, your magical Disney dream self. The version of you who is already that person. We've talked about this already. I know you may not feel it right now, but you are that person. And that's the mindset change. That's the magical shift we have to make. And I want you to think of that person as you imagine your new self. Not as somebody in the future, but today. This is who this is. I am, that I am statement. And then here's what you're going to do. Ask these questions. Well, how do they walk into a room? That person that I'm becoming, the I am statement that I made, how do they walk in a room? How do they handle setbacks? What kind of decisions do they make? Just put Walt Disney in there for a second. How do you think he would answer those questions? Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's who you desire to become. And again, don't want you to see it as simply something in the future. It happens today. It starts today. You are already that person today. You just didn't know it. And I'm just here to tell you, you are. And you have to start believing that you are, because that's going to change the way you walk into a room. That's going to change the way you handle setbacks. That's going to change the way you make certain kind of decisions. And then you're going to ask, what would the best version of me, the I am version, do today? I am a leader. So what would that best version of a leader do today? I am a great father. I am a great mother. So what would a great mother or a great father version do today? I am a reader. I am a person of integrity, of loyalty. I have character. I'm a dreamer that makes dreams come true. What does that look like today? What does that best version look like today? And then you know what you're going to do? You're going to do it. Because when you start believing that you're that person, I promise you, if you just please believe what I'm telling you, when you start believing this person that you are becoming, and you start seeing this and you really believe it, it's going to change the way you do things today, because you're going to start to do those things because you are actually living out who you believe you are. That's how transformation happens. Not through hustle alone, although it's good, but through alignment, through belief in who I believe myself to be. Are you willing to let go of who you were for who you could be? I hope your answer is yes. It has to be yes, because that's how Disney stories work. Transformation always begins when the character dares to believe a new truth about who they are. You'll notice that when these characters start off, they're not really the hero to begin with. They're not the smartest person. In fact, they're broken. They're barely making it sometimes. They got to help. They need help. And that's part of what makes the story so fascinating. So today, you are not just a dreamer. You are a doer. You are a creator. You are a leader. You are an amazing father. You are an amazing, mother. You are a great human being. You are becoming the hero of your own magical story. Not 10 years from now, not in next year, not when you get everything right and everything's perfect. No, today you are that hero. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I just appreciate these moments I get to share with you. And I want to ask your help that if this episode, really shifted your perspective on your identity, and perhaps today you're recommitting to the dream, please share this message with a fellow Disney dreamer, or any dreamer for that matter. It would mean so much to me. I really appreciate you. So let's do this together, all right? So keep dreaming, keep believing, because you are the magic, and the magic is in